Today I will show you how to bring those details from the sky back into the scene. So let's start. Hi guys, my name is Nemanja Sekulic and welcome to another fun episode. You know that common problem when you're shooting your landscapes and you have proper exposure for the landscape but the sky is blown out, or it's much brighter than your eyes see it in real life. Well, that's because your camera doesn't have so wide dynamic range to capture both exposure in the same shot. Today I will show you really great technique how to bring back those details into the scene using luminosity masks. Why them? Well, because they're a really great solution for this kind of problem. Luminosity masks are basically representation of highlights, midtones and shadows in the scene. And today we will only deal with the luminosity masks for the highlights. If you want to know a little bit more in depth about luminosity masks, here is the link. I already did tutorial about that, how to blend multiple exposures into one using luminosity masks. Okay, so let's jump straight into Photoshop and let's start with today's episode. Alright guys, today we will have fun with this image, but before we start I just want to tell you that I always recommend to shoot in RAW rather than in JPEG if you know that you will do this kind of work, because RAW file contains a lot more details than a JPEG and you can bring more details back into the scene from a RAW file. Alright, this is just a RAW file open in Photoshop. As you can see, it's shooted with a Fuji camera X-T10 and I will not do anything here. I will show you I can bring back highlights to bring back some details in the sky, or maybe I can bring exposure down and bring shadows up, etc, but I will not do that. I will reset everything and I will bring photo like so in Photoshop. Okay, now that we have loaded this image into the Photoshop, let's start by making a copy of the background layer by pressing Ctrl+J just in case we mess something up. Alright, and first I want to show you how to do the same thing without luminosity masks, just to see the difference between those two methods. Alright, first what I want to do here is to use maybe magic wand and just select the sky, because I want to play only with the sky. And now I will use a quick selection tool like so and remove this foreground. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger. Press and hold Alt for removing the selection like so, and let's remove everything and let's include this part. That's nice. Let's remove here this part and let's bring back this part here. Okay, now we have only selection of the sky, and let's go here and use the curves. And this selection it's already transformed into the mask. And now if we make this sky a little bit darker, look what's happening. We are bringing some details back, but see this part of the background here? It stays too bright and that's not good. Now we need to go back and select this part of the background too. Okay, let's use quick selection tool again. We don't want the sea here. We want only this part of background. That's part of the mountain there. Okay. And we don't want this part, but we want this. It doesn't matter if we select the sky because the sky is already selected. Something like so. And let's go here and paint with black, like so. Okay. And now let me see if we go back to the curves and make this darker. See this part of this background, it's too dark and we have problem. We need to tweak that mask to have a little bit more semi-transparent in this part, and it's a little bit more complicated. It's not so good, and if we have more details here we will have a lot of work to achieve that result. That's why luminosity masks are really nice for this kind of job. Okay, now we will make our first luminosity mask. How to do that? Well, it's pretty easy, just follow these steps. Okay, but before we do that, let me just quickly delete this cursor adjustment layer because we will not need it anymore. And now let's go to the channels here, press and hold Command or Control key and click on RGB channel. And that's it. We just loaded our first selection for the global highlights in the scene. This selection represents the global highlights in the scene, and if we make a mask out of that, we have our first luminosity mask. Let me rename this to lights 1. And the next step is to narrow this selection a little bit more to include only the brighter highlights in the scene, not the global, but just the brighter highlights in the scene. How to do that? It's really easy. Just load again, press Ctrl Command key and load this selection from the lights 1. And now press and hold Shift Ctrl Alt or Shift Command Option on a Mac and click again to the lights 1. And as you can see, this selection, it's narrowed down a little bit. And now if you make a mask out of that, as you can see, we narrowed this selection. We a little bit excluded the highlight parts from the corners and from the sea, etc. And we narrowed that selection. If you want to narrow it even more for some image that you're doing, okay, you can do that by repeating those steps. Press and hold Ctrl Command key, click on that, let me rename this lights 2. Lights 2, click on lights 2, then Shift Ctrl Alt or Shift Command Option on a Mac, and again click on that, and you have even more narrowed selection. Make a mask out of that, and again same procedure, make a mask out of that, and you can make a lot narrowed selection for the highlights. But today we will use only first 2, and I will delete this. We will use lights 1. Actually, we will use lights 2 because it's a little bit better for our purpose here. All right, we will now load this luminosity mask into the layer mask. How to do that? It's really easy too. Press and hold Ctrl Command, just make a selection out of that, then go to the RGB Channels, Layers, and go to our layer here and press Layer Mask button. And now we loaded that luminosity mask as a normal, regular layer mask into the scene. That's nice. All right, how to bring back details now from the sky? Well, it's pretty easy. Just tap on this layer, go to the filter, camera raw filter, and here it's where the magic happens. Right, go to the FX tab and dehaze. We want to use the haze option here because it's really nice for this. Let's dehaze it a little bit. If you go all the way up, it's really fake and you don't want that. But let's see, something like so. And again, if you're shooting in RAW, you can bring more details here in this option, in dehaze and other things. Okay, something like so. Then go to the hue and saturation and luminance tab, go to the luminance tab and go to the blues here, right? And we can bring down the blues. Of course, we can exaggerate it, but we don't want that. Just a little bit, something like so. Then go to the basic tab here and maybe increase the contrast just a touch and clarity just a touch, something like so. Let me see before and after, before and after. And we are now only looking at the sky. We don't care about other details in the image. Let's press OK and wait a second and let me show you now. Let's zoom a little bit. Okay, something like so. Before and after, before and after. And we just recovered some details from the sky. And now I will show you how to bring even more details back into the scene using a Nik Color Efex Pro plugin that it's free, and I recommend you guys to use that plugin. I'm using all the time. It's a free Google software. Just Google Nik Color Efex Pro and you will find the link. All right, and now I will show you how to do that. First, what I want to do is to go to the filter, Nik collection, and use Color Efex Pro 4. All right, and now let's wait a second to this plugin to load. Okay, and I want to use this Pro Contrast tab here. You will see why. Okay, Pro Contrast. And if you go here to dynamic contrast, you can increase it a little bit. You can increase it all the way up, but you don't want that. Again, just look to the sky, don't look to rest of the image. You can use a normal contrast, but the normal contrast will blow out the highlights, as you can see. And dynamic contrast is great because preserve the highlights, see? All right, we can do something like so, and we can add another filter that I like. It's Detail Extractor. And we will bring back even more details, but default value it's too much. We will zero this, and we will zero this contrast. Let me see, contrast can be something like so, and bring a little bit of the details into the scene. Let me see before and after, really, really nice. Let's press OK and wait a little bit for Nicolor Efex Pro to apply those changes. Okay. And that's it. As you can see, of course, it's too much, but before and after, and whole image, it's the effect it's applied on whole image. But now we will again load the same luminosity mask on this layer, copy it from this one, and we will have something really, really interesting. Press Alt or Option key and just drag and drop the luminosity mask here. And if we see before and after, really nice. We can now maybe lower that effect if we want. We can lower it a lot or less, but something around 80 maybe it's fine. Yes. And now we can merge everything together. Shift Control Alt E, or like so, or Shift Command Option E on a Mac, and just go again to the filter, camera raw, and to bring back some details from the shadow for this tree. Let's just bring a little bit of the details here. Something like so, and let's lower the saturation. Something like so. Okay. And just let me show you. That's nice. Let me now show before and after. Before and after. Before and after. Really, really big difference, especially the details from the sky. See? Before and after. Before and after. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope that you understand how to use luminosity masks to bring back some details from the sky. Actually, how to affect only the brightest part of the image, and in this case is the sky. This is really great and easy technique to use, and the best part, it's really fast. I can do that in a minute or so. First, 2, 3 or 4 seconds just to create the layer masks, then go to the filter, camera raw filter, dehaze it a little bit, go to the luminance tab, blue color, drop down the luminance. You can add a little bit of the contrast and clarity, and that's it. First 30 seconds, done. It's much better than to create some complex selections to select only the skies and then make a mask out of that and play with that. Luminosity masks are really fast and fun to play with. Second step is just go to the Nicolor Efex Pro free Google software, download it if you don't have it yet. Go to the Pro Contrast, in that go to the Dynamic Contrast tab, bring it up a little bit, add another filter, for example, Detail Extractor, add a little bit of that, and that's it, another 30 seconds, done. You see, it's really easy and really fast. Right guys, if you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comment below and I will be glad to answer them. See you next week in the next fun episode. Bye bye. The brightest part of this image is sky, and the darkest part again.